Donald Trump held a Halloween-themed Great Gatsby party with the slogan on the invites, "A little party never killed nobody." The juxtaposition, the photos are extraordinary. Everyone dressed to the nines, partying like it's going out of fashion. I mean, I hope that this is not presaging some kind of stock market crash in the way that they had in 1929, but that was definitely the vibe of this party.
While all this is going on and people are losing their food stamps and they're losing their, not luxuries, Caddy, but necessities for them to live.
Look, Democrats didn't just win in blue places. They broke the supermajority in the Mississippi state legislature. They flipped seats in Texas that had never even been competed recently. They, in parts of Virginia that are deep red, the average, I think, was 6 points towards Abigail Spanberger. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill got a bigger margin than Governor Murphy did a couple years ago. So it's not just that we won in blue places. Democrats won all over the country. And I think a few things are clear. Number one, when Donald Trump himself is not on the ballot, his ideas don't win. And all of these candidates, look, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, very different candidates than Zohran Mamdani. They are moderates. They worked in the national security field, but they talked about affordability. And Donald Trump himself even admitted the shutdown, the Republicans are getting blamed for it, and that they needed to talk more about affordability. Donald Trump properly diagnosed the problem. And so it's not just that we're winning in blue states.
Israeli drones are being used to spy on Americans. There's this AI-powered quadcopter that the IDF uses to terrorize people in Gaza. It's usually used for surveillance, but they've also used it to drop bombs on people. They've also attached machine guns to it to shoot innocent civilians. And these drones are powered by AI, so they don't require any human operator, and they essentially target people with a mind of their own. Well, it turns out that the company that makes and sells these drones to Israel, Skydio, has contracts with police departments in just about every major city in America. And these drones have been used to spy on the No Kings protests. They've been used to spy on the Palestine encampments on college campuses and even spring breakers in Miami. U.S. Customs and Border Protection bought dozens of these drones recently. The footage these drones take gets uploaded to a software developed by a company called Axon Evidence. Axon Evidence is the company that makes the majority of body cameras worn by American police officers. And all this footage automatically gets stored in what Axon calls its digital evidence management system. Police forces are using these drones for what they're calling drones as first responder programs, which means that when someone calls to report a crime, they're going to send drones to be the first responders, not human beings. For example, Cincinnati is saying that by the end of the year, 90% of their callouts will be responded to first by drones. Both Skydio and Axon are American companies, but they're both heavily tied to Israel. For example, Skydio was funded by Mark Andreessen, who is a Zionist venture capitalist whose firm, Andreessen Horowitz, helped in taking over TikTok. They're also funded by Next47 and Hercules Capital, whose managing director is described as Israel's go-to tech banker in the US. Skydio has also worked with Israeli defense firms, and Axon provides tasers and body cameras to the Israeli police. They also provided seed funding to Skydio. I'm sure a lot of you are aware that American cops train heavily with Israeli cops, but this isn't just to maintain the US-Israel relationship. It's really because the US and Israel treat Palestine as a testing ground. Weapons and tactics can be refined and honed by testing them on real people, and doing this gives weapons companies the ability to call their weapons and tactics battle tested, which is a coveted label in the weapons industry. A lot of the riot tactics that they used against protesters in American streets were first tried and tested against Palestinians. With Donald Trump sending troops to American cities and promising to crack down on Antifa, you can bet that these drones will be used to surveil and identify protesters and build legal cases against them.
It's disappointing when you look at some of those polls about where people talk about socialism, even though if you ask the question, give me a country where socialism has worked, there's not an answer. And give me a city where it's really worked, there's not an answer.
The very people who totally defended and provided cover for crony capitalism in America are now worried and shocked and chagrined that people are embracing socialism in the US. Now, it turns out that when you make this country unlivable for people who aren't rich, they're gonna be angry about it, and they're gonna look to other systems, economic systems, systems of government for answers, for solutions. And the fact that Bret Baier doesn't realize that blows my mind. And it's honestly the fact that he is who he is, he works at where he works, and runs in circles or runs within circles of people who are just totally disconnected from the reality of the vast majority of Americans. I mean, a ton of Americans are currently crippled with credit card debt because they can't afford to make ends meet and they have to charge their groceries on their credit card bill. So, yeah, people are not turned off by Zohran Mamdani and his labeling himself as a socialist. You should ask why that is instead of fear-mongering about it.
We have breaking news right now, a major embarrassment for the Trump Department of Justice. Remember the guy who threw a sandwich at federal law enforcement and the National Guard and was arrested for throwing a sandwich at them? He was just acquitted by a DC jury. A complete repudiation of the Trump Department of Justice. Pretty stunning, honestly. Not surprising, but still stunning nonetheless, because this is a case that the Trump administration vigorously prosecuted. I mean, they took over a dozen federal agents and arrested this man at like midnight from his apartment in Washington, D.C. after he threw a Subway sandwich at a member of the National Guard several months ago when the deployment first began. And well, now he's been found not guilty of assaulting law enforcement, assaulting federal authorities. D.C. jury completely rebuked the Trump administration. Pretty stunning to see another day, another rebuke of this Trump Department of Justice. And you know who's really going to get a lot of flack for this? Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for D.C. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along, stay updated on all the news that you need to know about. More to come soon.